You said something that caught me right away when we were discussing various issues just before we started.
We got the XAI data center or supercomputer center training from beginning installation to start of training in 19 days, which is the fastest that anyone has ever gotten a supercomputer to train.
And is that in that new building off to the side?
That's in Memphis, actually.
It's in Memphis?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were?
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis,
okay.
The capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding.
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny.
Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt.
Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about alignment.
I wish that was funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
right.
look, I mean, there are a few things we're aiming for with Grok, the XAI.
Yeah, so why'd you pick Grok?
Well, I think, because of the meaning of the word.
Yeah.
To grok something is to understand it at a very deep level, and that's what we're aiming for with our AI. The stated goal of XAI is to understand the universe. So to really just understand the nature of the universe, and even what questions to ask about the universe.
Yeah, who did you say? Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and it came down, and you saw that fire burning, and I'm saying only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and them which dwell therein, to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
And it came down, and you saw that fire burning, and I'm saying only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon.
We have a new star. A star is born, according to Mr. President-elect Donald Trump. And this is something that is extremely important to look into, this topic of this new star that is born. Because we have talked a lot in the past about stars and their significance. And I want to begin by reminding you guys about the significance of the stars according to the Book of Enoch, and also later tie that in to the doctrines of demons that came about years ago with the fake Book of the Law, the enemy's version of the Book of the Law. We've talked about that as well, but I know some of you may or may not have seen those, so I'm going to try to tie it all in and use your time wisely, because I don't want you to get lost in all this stuff. It's dark, but it ties into Revelation, what's around the corner, and we need to understand what we're up against so that we're not deceived by the false lights, because they are going to be used for a purpose to usher in things. And I currently feel that there's key figures doing just that, and it's something that's extremely eye-opening and how it ties in to what they know, and it has to do with the Book of Enoch and his vision or dream about the star that fell from heaven. And this star would have been the chief of the fallen, the one that helped lead them astray before the flood. And so we've talked about this. I'm not going to go in too great a detail, but essentially he says, I saw then many stars, and they fell from heaven, and were thrown from heaven near that first star, and among those cattle and bullocks, there they were with them, pasturing among them. This is talking about people, the people of the world. Genesis talks about them as being the daughters of men. You know, the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and he says, and I looked at them, and behold, they all let out their members, I'm not going to say that word, like horses, and began to mount the cows of the bullocks. And these all became pregnant and brought forth. And these three animals here, I want to clarify, this is a vision. This is not real. I've been slandered saying that I'm calling creatures that our Father created demonic half-breeds and all that. No, this is all due to Enoch's vision. And so they brought forth elephants, camels, and asses. And Enoch, of course, clarifies that there were three races of giants. And so that's what these are referring to. And the reason we talked about that before is because the political parties, most people don't know about the Prohibition Party, but it was a camel. Now we have the elephants and the asses, which were in, of course, Enoch's vision, representative of the three groups of giants who would then become unclean spirits. And now they have us divided left versus right, which back in the past it was north versus south where I'm at, and now it's left versus right. They're going every direction they can to divide. But the connection to the stars there is huge. The stars fell from heaven. And these political symbols look like they have a firmament with stars in them. And of course, this newer version here of the elephant has them in this direction, conveniently. And so it's just a small piece of the puzzle here, looking at that connection to the stars. But what happened next was that first star, it says, which had fallen from heaven, and they bound it. Okay, talking about one of the four that came with him, one of the angels, bound that fallen angel hand and foot and cast it into an abyss. And so there they are getting bound. The bound fallen. You hear about them in Revelation. You don't hear about them anywhere else in the canon of 66. That information with those angels being bound in chains, you will find that in Enoch, and you will find it in Peter, 1st or 2nd Peter. I'll have to look. But the bound in chains aspect is in the canon, but they don't tell you how or why. You get that in the book of Enoch, a book that tells you it is for people in the end times. Literally says that right off the bat. And so this abyss being narrow and deep and dark and all of that, it says, happened. But of course, there was a punishment for their offspring. They had to fight to the end. And I believe that is what is considered to be the Clash of the Titans. I heard that from Rob Skiba, and as I've looked into it, it seems more and more true that a lot of that Greek mythology, those figures that they worshipped and have worshipped for many years, are based on this clash of these giants, because they were given a sword, all three groups of those giants, and they fought to the death. That was their punishment. And the fallen had to watch their beloved children fight to the death. That's why they like to watch our children fight to the death and fight over anything and everything to get us to fight. That's what they want to do, because it is something that they were punished with, and they want to punish us with something similar. Even the being bound in chains, being imprisoned, that was never an aspect of the law. Father's law didn't have a prison system. Punishments were just and they were swift. Didn't need all that. But they like to have us in chains for a reason. And so getting back to Mr. Elon here saying that Memphis is the capital of ancient Egypt, and perhaps that's where our new God will come from. He used the word our. Don't know who he's trying to include there. You can tell the conversation got really awkward right here with Mr. Peterson. His body language was showing me that he was uncomfortable. I don't know what you would do. You've had him come on, and he's saying these things right in front of you. And of course, Peterson says, I wish that were funny, and Elon just laughing hysterically. But the whole notion of this false new God coming from Egypt and him talking about that has everything to do with his new AI company called Grok, or his supercomputer called Grok. We already know he was trying to fuse man with AI with Neuralink. Now he's got this supercomputer place. And of course, he said it's just trained faster than any other supercomputer, as if his supercomputer already has a personality and this ability to be better than other supercomputers. Like it's this entity already trying to speak life into this thing. And so this AI supercomputer is called Grok. And that word Grok is from a book that he used to really love and still loves, called Stranger in a Strange Land. And this is where it gets weird, because you notice all of this X nonsense comes from these demonic entities. One like Horus that Aleister Crowley has speaking in his Book of the Law. taking credit, saying that it poked out the eyes of the Messiah while he was on the cross, saying all these blasphemous things. This demon here, it's a demon of old, coming back in present day. People like Aleister Crowley writing his satanic book of the law, they all pay tribute to these demonic entities. And it's the powers of darkness that they don't want us to know about that they serve. And their powers of darkness don't want you to know what you live on, who you are, and how powerful your Father is. And so they keep a lot of things hidden with all their lying signs for a reason. But that book, Stranger in a Strange Land, when I pulled it up, guess what? There's the X. This Robert A. Heinlein, if that's how you say it, or Heinlein, however you say his name, I don't know. But this guy, Stranger in a Strange Land, I saw that familiar pose, and this thing just looks like a bound angel. It's even got like the halo, like it's bound in this abyss. Don't know what all this little mermaid action is right here. I have no clue. But I was just looking through and seeing the covers of this book because I knew there would be something dark there, given that's where he got the name Grok from. And Peterson talked about it a little bit and said the book had some strange things to it. So, of course, the cover is going to be equally strange. One of them, this is another version of it. Instead of making the X, he looks like the Messiah here. He's got his feet crossed as if he's crucified. His hands are out. And of course, this looks like Adam and Eve with the serpent right here. Like they've just taken up the serpent and made friends with it. And then two big gold pots full of money in the city in the background. Good old Babylon back there, the modern day Babylon. And so this guy, the author of this book, his other book, and here's what it's called, The Number of the Beast. Here's a couple different renditions of it right here. You got one beast. It actually has 3 sixes on its forehead. So if you're thinking, oh, well, it's just a coincidence. No, I think I see 3 sixes or at least 2. It's hard to see. No, that's a third one up there. It just gets smaller. And so this guy with his science fiction, he's one of the so-called fathers of science fiction. And his books, or a lot of them at least, are about space. This even looks like the red planet back there. It even has the little 666 on it. Look at that. Before I just thought that was craters, but look, 6, another 6, and another one right there. Again, probably colonizing another planet, seeing this planet in the background. I don't know. I'm not going to read these nonsense books, but these are the types of things that he was interested in to start his foundation. It's not the word that it's founded on, but a lot of this science fiction stuff, and there's a reason for that. We'll get into that too. But the book, when I was looking it up and I clicked on the cover, it pulls up the Amazon version and it gave me some little opening words from the book right here. And it's talking about this creature whose ancestry is of man, but he is more Martian than man. Kind of reminds me of the Nephilim, being part angel, part man. The entities from above came down, of course, mated with the women. And so it says here, he's brought up by a race which has nothing in common with us. Sounds a lot like the book of Enoch and Genesis as well. But the captain here, his name is what caught my attention, Captain Van Tromp. And I was like, Trump, man, that sounds a lot like Trump. And so as I'm reading, I saw that his full name was Captain William Van Tromp. If you guys are familiar with that book from the early 1900s, late 1800s, a little series that came about that were about this time traveler named Baron Trump, same name as Donald Trump's son, Baron Trump. His name in the book was William Baron Trump. And this guy, the captain here, is William Van Tromp. Very, very similar. Could just be a coincidence. I don't think so, because they are so excited about their plan, these unclean spirits, that they are using people to put out little snippets of information to show off their plan as much as they can because they're excited about it. And they look forward to destruction. That's why the key figure towards the end of the Bible is called the son of perdition, because he is going to be about destruction and causing as many as he can to fall with them. And so that book, if you've never heard about it, I know a lot of you guys have seen different things. So if you've never heard about that book, I don't want you to get too caught up into all this conspiracy stuff. But essentially, you had this time traveler, and in a sequel to that book, Baron Trump and his underground adventures, you have The Last President. And The Last President is a book that talks about that election day, Tuesday, November 3rd. And there was riots, quarantines, people having to stay in their houses. This is something that really intrigued me back when this was going on with the quarantines and the election back in the day. And I thought, well, Biden became the president, so the whole last president stuff is nonsense. But now here we are with another Trump presidency. But the hotel in the book was on Fifth Avenue, same place as Trump Tower. So you have all this crazy stuff, and I believe it ties in to that one book that Elon Musk is basing the name of his supercomputer on, Grok. That word Grok came about in this book, and it became part of the mainstream language now. A lot of people have used that afterwards. And so sometimes new words can come about, be popularized in a text, and then just get accepted. And so that was one of them. And Elon says it's to fully understand things, or to really deeply understand things, something along those lines. And so to grok something, I've never heard anyone say that until that interview, but apparently that's what it means. But that is the eye-opening parts that got me really looking into this stuff. But where it gets dark and why this new star being born is something that is more sinister than it seems has everything to do with that Crowleyism that I was talking about, with him hoping to usher in this eon of Horus. What does Horus want? It's no mystery. The Bible tells us it was already going on back then. This mystery of iniquity. Iniquity means lawlessness or utter disregard for God's law. And so that was going on back then. It's continually going on, and it's going to get worse. And so that demon figure, the one with the hawk's beak, like I was telling you, this is dark and I don't like reading their words, but I want you to see the kind of figures they worship and why we should not accept their wisdom as worldly wisdom, making their little X pattern with their arms, paying tribute to them, because he says here, with my hawk's head, I peck at the eyes of Jesus as he hangs upon the cross. No, he didn't. He's a liar. But he likes to deify himself beyond what he can really do, his limited powers. When the Messiah was here, those demons were terrified. They fled. They were cast into the water, the one thing they were afraid of, because historically they don't have a good encounter with water thanks to the flood. And so right here, just super evil stuff. I don't even want to read all of it. I hate talking about them, but telling them to fight, be brothers, and fight. Lofty, royal, proud, all this pride stuff. We have enough of that forced on us. But what they say, these demons, listen to this. This is something I'm going to read because this is important to see where they're coming from and why we've been brought up with so much propaganda and indoctrination about the stars. Because it says here, now you shall know that the chosen priest and apostle of infinite space, there's the infinite space there. That's important for them to push on us, is the prince, priest, the beast. And in his woman, called the scarlet woman, is all power given. They shall gather, and listen to this, they're trying to sound like the Most High, my children into their fold. They shall bring the glory of the stars into the hearts of men. That has been done. And that's why people are marveling at these lying signs and wonders and rockets going up out into the ocean. They are setting out to accomplish their goal of bringing the stars to the hearts of men. And it closes by saying, since I am infinite space and the infinite stars. Remember, our Father set those stars in the firmament of the heavens at creation. They are not those things. They're trying to deify themselves even more, to sound like they have some power, to sound like they have their own children, which people can serve them, but they want to sound like the Most High, make their own holy days and all of these different things, have us glorying over Star Wars and Star Trek. It almost looks like an upside-down cross. I don't know why I never noticed that before, with ram horns on top. They got their Masonic lodges and their stars on them. You see them when you drive through every single town, and they look identical to the Hollywood stars. Of course, make a wish upon a star, be a rock star. I've talked about this so many times, but that is where they try to get us, to make us be obsessed with infinite space, pushing that firmament out of existence, pushing day 2 of creation out of our minds, and creating a foundation that goes against the biblical truth of creation. And so it's important that you understand the firmament is real, no matter what lying signs are ahead. They want us to glory in the stars. And for years, They've had us putting trees on our houses, throwing stars on top of them, not knowing that we are glorying in the same things they've wanted us to. And I'm not saying that if you've done this, you're pagan. I've done this. I've had this exact same practice go on in my life, but they want us to glory in stars. And that is what has been going on for centuries. And so Elon and his goal, what he's going to do, I can only imagine. But I find it interesting that he has 12 children or has had 12 children. One of them has passed away, sadly. Sorry for the loss there. That's devastating. But it was his firstborn that passed. And then the name of that one was Nevada. And then he had twins, Xavier and Griffin. One of them is now saying they are another gender. Then you have Kai, Saxon, Damien, XAE, AXII, or the Roman numeral 12. But the A12 stands for Archangel 12, which is a type of jet, the nickname for a jet. But the AE also stands for ash tree, and that's why it's pronounced ash. AE is actually pronounced ash. And so when I was looking that up, ash tree, and then the nickname is Dark Star for this child. So their nickname is Dark Star. Remember the glory of the stars. So they have Dark Star, and then he had children. I think these are twins, Azur and Strider, and then Exa, Dark Side Rael. And my son was telling me, remember, like all of the fallen, there's like Azazel, Gadrael, like there was all these entities with that ending to their name that were bad. And so Israel is actually one. They're probably trying to mimic that. I don't know. But it sounds like they're just trying to say that the dark side is real. And the nickname is Y, just the letter Y or the word question Y. So you have that aspect going on. And then you have Techno Mechanicus, interesting name. And the nickname there is Tau, which is essentially the Hebrew number 400. I thought that was weird. And then the name of the 12th child has not yet been released. I wonder why they're keeping that one a secret. So, not trying to get you too intrigued by all this stuff, but it is intriguing. And him having 12 children, it just reminds me of Jacob. And of course, like Jacob, he has different wives, children from different people. Not the exact number. He's only had 3 wives, but this warrior putting himself out there as a soldier, but not a good soldier, a soldier of Satan. And it's sad. I really, really hope he can repent, confess some things to the world, and hopefully have enough protection to get the truth out. But I think he may just serve the purpose he is trying to serve right now. And it's heartbreaking, especially given how many children he has, as well as how many people in this world are looking up to him, and how many people on the alleged right believe he is a good figure. And man, it's tough to see the deceptions he has brought about already, especially with space, because space was falling apart with NASA and he came along as this other saving grace for them. But their goal is to have us glory in the stars. And so, AI being a big thing on the forefront, we have to remember that Joshua was someone in the Bible that I've read about who had to fight AI. And this battle, I believe, is very prophetic, possibly foreshadowing a lot of the things going on now, because the people of Israel sent some people to AI, and they actually lost some people to AI because of their sin, because someone of one of the tribes had taken some bad images, some gold, some Babylonian cloth, and some golden coins, and all these different things, I'm sure, that were a form of idol worship to them, that they had stolen and thought, I'll keep this gold and keep this treasure and bury it. No one will know it's here. But the Most High wasn't with them at that point because of the sin of this person, and this person had to confess and be punished. Then they purified themselves and went after AI, surrounded them. Of course, AI thought that they had the upper hand and that Joshua was running away, but their town was burned behind them, and they looked back, they had nowhere to go because their town's on fire. And then now they're trapped in between the real army that is now on the side of the Most High. And they, of course, destroyed AI like it was nothing, because the Most High fighting your battles for you makes it easy. And so AI and Joshua is a big deal. And I'm assuming they call it AI now. understanding the significance here. There's no such thing as artificial intelligence. I believe that there can be some things that almost seem like intelligence, but they're not. Only our Father can make life. And he did that on the sixth day. And now we're in the sixth millennial day. And my wife brought this to my attention that it's the sixth millennial day. And now man is trying to make man in their image, trying to make this so-called intelligence and these robots and all these different things. And so prophetic foreshadowing of creation, but our Father is going to have his beloved Son return very soon. And a lot of things are going to be shifted and changed. It's going to be great for those that are in the first resurrection. Not so great for those who are uniting against what they want us to believe is this threat from above. It's one of the final cards that von Braun was talking about. And Werner von Braun is a man who wrote a book about Elon in the past, like in the 1950s. Before Elon was born, he wrote a book about the colonization of Mars being led by someone given the title Elon. He knew the plan, and he said their plan was to weaponize space, allegedly. It's all a fake threat. They are going to have weapons up there. They're going to be able to do some things to trick people into being afraid, like they did several years ago with a worldwide scare. They can do these things. Revelation tells us they're given power to make fire rain down from heaven in the sight of men and in the sight of the beast. All these things prophesied about. It's interesting being in these times we are now, seeing the things we're seeing. And so I wanted to share some of these with you guys because I know that a lot of you are seeing the wickedness and are seeing a lot of the things happening with the elections and politics, and it's confusing because you want to know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, what's going on. But I can just tell you from what I have read and experienced in my life, do not put your trust in man. Israel always messed up when they put their trust in man. They wanted a worldly king like the other nations. They got one, and it's been torture ever since. I am excited and waiting with so many others who are looking forward to when we do not have worldly kings. We have the Messiah reigning, King of Kings over the earth, until all have been put under his feet, all his enemies under his feet. And then he's going to hand things back. And it's such a great inheritance to look forward to. But I wanted to share this with you guys just so you can see how serious the darkness is, the lawlessness that they are bringing in. And it's going to look good. Things may get better temporarily. They might bring in a lot of good. But when they bring in a lot of good, they're usually sneaking in some bad as well. So like the word says many, many times, don't be deceived or let no man deceive you. And I feel like we need to all stay very close to our Creator and look to him for guidance in this world full of deceptions, full of all sorts of teachers out there that are leading so many the wrong direction. Let the Holy Spirit guide you. Let it teach you. Don't let mankind bring you down with them, with any false doctrines or teachings they have, including anything that I may get wrong. Don't put your trust in me. Let the Holy Spirit guide you. So thanks for joining us. I just wanted to share these things. I thought it was very telling considering the new merger with Elon and Trump and all the things going on. I know that things have been chaotic for a lot of people, and it's just very telling to see a lot of the things we're seeing with the merging of AI, with everything we're using now is happening so fast, and it's by design. It's leading to a system that makes a lot of the things in Revelation possible. And so be patient. Our time is coming very soon. Their time is coming even sooner. So thanks for joining us, and thank you all for your support. It's been a major blessing. We love you. The Father loves you, and we will see you next time.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, even him, whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.